Surprise, everyone. Happy Sabbath. This week's text is taken from Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. And a friend of mine sent me an interesting article about one of the most highlighted passages in the Bible. And can you believe that it was Philippians 4, 6 and 7? It reads, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus." And this morning, I don't know who this message is for, but I pray that God will touch your hearts. The passage can shed some light about American readers and how they view life. And here are three passages or three lists that tell us about Americans and why they highlighted this passage. The first reason that I believe that they highlighted this passage is because that every single day Americans are living with anxiety daily. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illnesses in the U.S., affecting 40 million adults in the United States age 18 and older, or 18.1% of the population every single year. You see, that's a lot of people. And imagine if we consider the numbers of those that are closest to us. Those numbers could easily be 1 in 3 persons. And the reality is, from the moment we wake up in our days, we are bombarded with so many things that we have to do, so many places that we have to go, people that we have to see, and we're constantly overextending ourselves, playing catch up, and the list goes on and on and on. And if it's not us directly experiencing anxiety, there's still life happening around us that cause indirect worry and fear. Living here on earth, it's almost impossible not to have a day without some form of anxiety. And as believers, we do not cope as the world does, because we know it brings us to our next point. As Americans, we are always looking for new ways to cope with our old patterns. Notice the Bible does not say turn to our friends or a substance or social media. It doesn't say turn to your favorite cookie, whether it's Oreo or Chips Ahoy, or go on a shopping spree down at the outlets, or masking our emotions like many of us tend to do, or you can just basically fill in your favorite coping indulgence. But the Bible turns us to pray. So in a study done by psychologists, they study about the effects of prayer on individuals living with depression and anxiety. And it's interesting to note that these 4 things were the things that they found amongst believers. It says, 1, they allows a person to feel more hopeful in their situation. You're open to new ways for handling anxiety and depression. Your attitudes and behaviors naturally evolve in a positive direction, and the way you see the problem changes. And as people of the good book, it may sound cliche to just say, let's just pray about it. But imagine the positive effects it can have on the body. Remember John's message to his dearest friends as he was writing on Patmos. And he said to them, "I hope all is well with you and that you are as healthy in body as you are in spirit." Imagine the profits that we have made or have been made through our anxieties. Worry has made a lot of the pharmaceutical companies rich. Anxiety is expensive. The ER bills, the prescribed medication, the expense our body and organs take can quickly add up. But the time we spend in prayer to God, who cares about every single concern, you see, it's priceless. And so the last message and the lesson that I want to share with each and every one of you, we can learn from readers who highlight this text, is having a true God encounter. Pew Research shares 1/4 of Americans now see themselves as spiritual and not religious. And as believers, we have heard some horror stories about people's experience in church. We can probably share our own war stories about church. But you see, no institution is perfect. Not the government, not school, not, any religious or corporate, you name it. And as fallen humans, we are reminded that although human institutions fail us every day, we can turn to our sovereign God and tell Him about what's happening in our present and thank Him for the outcome that will happen in the future. So it's amazing that he allows us to encounter that power in every season of our life. I'm encouraged that while people may have given up on church, their hearts still longer after a peace-giving God, a God who has the power to transform our worry into worship. Our prayers that may not change our circumstances or situations, but they may change our perspectives and hearts. So we long to experience a God that will continue to wrap us into this idea of peace that passeth or surpasseth all understanding. So today, I encourage you, when we encounter worry, stop and pray. Tell, thank, and then live knowing that God's gift of peace exceeds our understanding. So may God bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you, Patmos, today. Peace from South Florida. Bye.